Yes, thank you, Ivor. Also, thank you for inviting me to give this talk. Indeed, I'll talk about autimaatje. It's a Dutch tool, but the presentation will be in English. But I'll also touch upon more generic approaches in the application of genAI. So, indeed, as Ivor said, so I started out in Groningen. I'm from the Berko generation, so I know him also from, at that time, TCW. And then I did my PhD in Wageningen. I nowadays leave out my title, which is not really nice, but because a doctor means something else in healthcare than my type of doctor. So to make sure that people don't approach me as being a healthcare physician or something, I leave out my title. And indeed, it's mainly focused on AI and high-end software engineering and hardware background. And currently, I'm developing large language models-based applications for businesses. So I want to touch upon this a little bit. So this is how we now view genAI. So most people know ChatGPT, Midjourney, and so on. So you are a user, and you have some ideas, and you have this nice conversation with the chatbot. You get some feedback on what you like. So I call this the conceptualize, elaborate, and refine method of using large language models. Why? So where do we use this? Well, you can write grant proposals with this. You can make blog posts, generate images, and so on. You can use it for the birthday parties, whatever you like. Really nice. So this is how most people now know ChatGPT applications. However, for me, in the future or now already, we will see that the large language models will be moving to the back in applications, so out of view from the user. Maybe you can add some chatbot-like interface to your website or to your applications, which is nice, of course, but most of the stuff will be done in the back. So as a user, you're not aware that there's a large language model being applied. So that can be a personal assistant, like autimaatje, that can be agent technology, and so on. And I'll give you some examples of how you can then use this in real life applications. So then the user will just interface like a regular way with the computer or the website, and you get your feedback. And I like to call this summarize, explain, and communicate. That's how we use the large language models. And to give you an example of how this then would work, so I built a toy application about a year ago already. So you have a weather and travel agent working for you, and the user provides the location and the type of activity the person is interested in. And then the Open Weather API is queried, so you get the weather data. ChatGPT generates a nice weather report based on the data that is provided. This is then used to provide suggestions of activities in the location you specified. And then also the data is then sent to TripAdvisor to get also recommendations and feedback from users using the TripAdvisor API. And all this data is handled by ChatGPT. So if you're a software engineer or a developer and you use APIs and you get, for instance, JSON spec from an API, and you need to convert this to HTML or whatever format you like, you spend days looking at the manuals trying to convert this type of data. Now you just give the JSON to ChatGPT and say, okay, please provide an HTML based on this JSON, and it outputs the HTML. So then you're done in a couple of minutes. And also, to just as a nice idea, you can also ask ChatGPT to generate a prompt for DALL-E to produce a nice picture. For instance, this is the Prinsessa Garden here in Groningen, in the Vermeer style. So this is then the interface, which is then provided to the user. So you can also have a way of the type of language that is being used in the output. So in this case, you have a cheerful local weather reporter. You can also have your grumpy neighbor to provide you with the weather report if you like. So the only thing you do is you provide your location and the type of activities. And then here, so yesterday it's supposed to be about 9 degrees here in Groningen. And then this data is then collected. So this is the prompt. So there's a lot of developers here. So I'd like to add some prompting here. and then it says, okay, the following text contains the names of locations, parks, and so on, of a city, in this case, Groningen. So please extract these specific names of a park, of a restaurant, or whatever from the suggestions you just provided, so I can send this to TripAdvisor, because the TripAdvisor API allows you to get the feedback and reviews of this particular location. So then you send this to TripAdvisor, and you get this back, and then you have the JSON. So following the JSON output from TripAdvisor, please provide a summary of the location and other information you have on this location. Write the outputs in HTML format, including links and paragraphs. And then you provide the JSON, and it is provided by TripAdvisor. And then this is the output. So this is my weather report for Groningen. Good day, lovely listeners. So it's a radio weather reporter. So you get this nice chat-like output about the weather. And there's some top activities to do in Groningen. So you can go to the Groninger Museum, go to the Drie Gezusters. This is all local, provided by JetGPT. And then on the bottom you can see the output from TripAdvisor with the scoring of each of the locations. And if you then press the button, this one here, it will show you the HTML that's come from the JSON. So it gives you opening hours, all these kind of things. So this is a way of using large language models, in this case JetGPT, in an application where you don't chat with the application. You don't type anything except for the location of the city, right? So this is really nice. I find a really nice example of what you can do with these kind of things. So now we're going to switch a little bit to what has been done in healthcare. So also in healthcare, here in Groningen also, there are some projects now being run to see how they can implement large language models in healthcare. So this is a project together with the hospital in Tilburg, where they use JetGPT-4 to generate the response to a question from a patient and put that in the dossier of this particular patient. So they call this answer suggestions. And then of course the doctor checks, but the doctor doesn't have to write the text. You get a question based on your file. It will generate, because it's not general output. It will look at your file and generate a specific output, and then the doctor looks at it. Yeah, okay, this is fine, and then save it to the patient file, and you're done. But you can also make a summary of the documentation, and this is not only the case in healthcare, but you see in a lot of industry also, in legal, that you have a lot of documentation and you want to go through all this, but you don't have all the time. So you can use large language models to generate your summaries, which is, if you ask a doctor to do this, it will take 7 minutes. And if you ask a JetGPT to do this, it's done in 15 seconds. And they could not distinguish the output from the doctor from JetGPT. Right? So this is a very powerful technology. Another example, before I switch to autimaatje. This is Autoscriber, a Dutch company. What they do is they listen in on the doctor and the patient in the doctor's room, and so the doctor can really talk to you. So they listen and they use audio to text to convert the information to text and then add it to your file while you're talking to the doctor. And this is not only the text, but also all the classifications and the treatments and the medication, everything that's been said during this talk will be integrated into your file. And the doctor only has to really verify if everything is okay and really spend time with the patient. Again, not a chat-like interface, but using the power of large language models. So now I'll switch to autimaatje. This is a similar approach to using large language models. This is a tool to support neurodivergent individuals, and then mainly people with autism, ADHD, and high sensitive people, to give them a way to support them in their day-to-day tasks. Especially people with autism and ADHD, they can be overwhelmed with stimuli from outside. They have difficulty processing information. And eventually, some people, they get stuck in their day-to-day life, that they really require intensive mental health care. So we would like to prevent this and to make sure that people have, again, control over their lives and can get a better indication of what is impactful in their life. That's for the user, for the patient, as you would say. But also, if I saw that especially caregivers and professionals, they don't always see what it is to be inside of a brain of people who have autism. They struggle with a lot of things that people who don't have autism don't realize. How impactful a meeting can be, how impactful a train station can be, stuff like that. That's very difficult to perceive if you don't have these difficulties. So this tool can also help caregivers to give an indication of, okay, my brother, my daughter, they suffer from autism. Okay, we have a party. What does it mean for this particular person? How can I support this person, my brother, in having a nicer party, and also see what is going on and help people and realize what's going on? Yeah, and another thing is that for people with autism, every event is new. Many people, they go to a train station, or you arrive at Groningen train station, you've been there a couple of times, you know the way, it's fine, right? For people with autism, it's not fine. Every time they visit the train station, many things are different. The trains are in different positions, different people, different lighting. There's a stall with a coffee that has been moved. So they all have to process this again and again and again. So that's why this is so impactful. And this is why they need, or they can be helped on a day-to-day basis with such a tool. It's not something you can solve once, it's something they struggle on a day-to-day basis. So, with this in mind, I developed the autimaatje, which is a AI-driven personal assistant, and it can provide insights into your day-to-day events. And also, this is not my idea, well, it's my idea, but it's sensitive materials. It's really, you need to do this in a proper way. So I work together with healthcare professionals and patients to develop this tool. And make sure that it's really proper output and so on. And the tool will just give you a nice overview of the events, and I'll show you later some how this works. And in the end, what we'd like to achieve are two things: a better balance in life between rest and activities, and also greater autonomy. So what now many people do, for instance, students in Utrecht, they get stuck during their courses because of their autism, and then the care professionals, they sit down with them. Okay, what's your calendar for this week? What are the events? How does your week look like? So we can see, okay, what is necessary? What can you skip? What is the impact of each of these things? And they do it every week. So if you can do that by yourself, you don't need the healthcare professional. You can do it on your own by yourself, providing you with greater autonomy in life. So a couple of key features here. We do an impact analysis. So what is the impact of an event on your mental state? One other thing is that a lot of people with autism, they suffer is they have unfilled time. Niet ingevulde tijd, as we call it in Dutch. So you have to wait for the bus. You have to drive. You sit in a car for half an hour. You come home from work or from study, and you have an appointment an hour later. What do you do with this hour? And that can be very stressful for people with autism. So unfilled time. And we can color your calendar based on impact, for instance, to see your whole week, how does it look like? One of the things out here, we started with a Google Calendar add-on. It is in Dutch, and we're looking into the development for Outlook and of course other languages. The idea is the same for if you're German or English. Some cultural differences might be applicable, but in general case, a German person suffering from autism is pretty much the same as somebody in Spain, right? That doesn't really matter. And so here you can also provide a profile within autimaatje. It is not necessary, so then you get a more general response from ChatGPT. But you can also add, so what are my key issues So do I suffer from autism, or is it ADHD, or a combination of both? These usually have co-occurrences. And what are your main triggers? So everybody is different. So that's why they call autism, it's on a spectrum, right? So everybody has different needs and triggers. So here, some people that they just thrive by social interactions, but others, they really suffer from social interactions. So you can say, okay, this is for me, a social interaction is really a difficult thing. So please help me with this. So you can use that checkbox. And this data is only stored in your Google Calendar account. So this is not stored somewhere in our system, so it's really your data. And we're not doing anything with it, except sending it to ChatGPT, of course. And also here, it is an add-on for Google Calendar. There's also, somebody asked me, okay, why did you develop your own calendar app? So you can have better integration. But if you already use Google Calendar, then yeah, okay, then you have all your events there, all your appointments are already in your calendar. So why switch? That's a technical user interface thing. But also, if you're suffering from autism, a change of application can be, again, a stressor. So you have all your events, your daily life is planned in Google Calendar. Now you need to switch to something else. That's really stressful. So stick to what they know. So that's why you're also looking at Outlook. So Google and Outlook are the most used calendar apps. So we'd like to integrate with those. So you just you can load the add-on and you're done. So this is an example of a Saturday. So coming Saturday, I have to bring my kid to the soccer game together with teammates. I have to do my grocery shopping at the Albert Heijn. I'm going to have dinner at home, and then later I'll have a party in Amsterdam for Jasper. So this is a basic calendar, nothing special. This is how you then also add already your events on a day-to-day basis. So you don't need to change anything. Although if you add more information, like it's a large language model, it will provide you a more detailed answer. But this is already sufficient for the large language model to work with. So here again, so you have on the top, you have an impact analysis. Again, sorry, it's in Dutch, but so this is for the party of Jasper in Amsterdam. He has some gifts he'd like to have, so I go a weekend away with his girlfriend or something to buy clothing from. So this is general information. So the impact, okay, this is it can be a reason for overstimulation because you have social interactions with crowds and a lot of noise, sensory information. So this is the short impact analysis of this particular event. And you can also provide it with an analysis. So, okay, given your sensitivity to social interaction, this might be something you can expect a lot of impact. So here also it says, okay, it's at the Prinsengracht in Amsterdam. It's very noisy. Be aware. This is also can be highly impactful. And again, also at the bottom, you can see, okay, picking a gift can be a challenge. And this is not something we fed to the large language model. This is from scientific research and from online information where the model has been trained on. But if you suffer from autism, making a choice is very difficult. So selecting a gift for somebody is a very challenging thing to do. And it's not here only that this person has some gifts he'd like to have, which is normal for a birthday, right? So yeah, okay, what would you like to have for your birthday? Okay, this is the response. And then it's okay, maybe you can ask somebody else for input. So you don't have to make the decision yourself. So that is already a really nice benefit of using a large language model. We don't have to train it for it. We don't have to feed it all this information. It's already in there. So this is then the impact analysis. So on the left side here, this is the impact. So how impactful will be this event on your mental health? So you can see here, okay, going to the soccer game with all the people around in the soccer stadium, soccer field, that can be very impactful. Doing grocery shopping in the afternoon in an Albert Heijn XL on a Saturday afternoon can be also very impactful, right? So that's not surprise. Having dinner at home, okay, that's okay. It's not overstimulated, so it's not highly impactful. It's also not that you can, that you can really wind down, like a walk in the woods, really wind down, listen to music. But this is okay, this is neutral, this is okay. And of course, the party for Jasper can be, again, highly impactful. And as I indicated, it's very difficult for people to make decisions. Okay, now I know this, but how can I make a decision what to do and what not to do? So this tool can also help you with this. It will not make a decision, of course, that's up to you, but it can support you with this. So here in green, so this is hoofd- en bijzaak, as we call it. So the green ones are necessary. So you have to bring your kid to soccer game. That's pretty much, well, if you can ask somebody else if it's really difficult, but this is something you have to do. Grocery shopping, yeah, okay, that's also necessary. And eating is, of course, necessary. But here, the party, after this day, well, that might be not so important. So it could well be that if you want to have a nice Sunday because you already have a quite impactful day, and then you also go to this party, then you'll know that Sunday and the days after this, you'll be on the couch because you completely wasted. And not from alcohol, but just from overstimulation. So then this might not be so important. So this can be then a suggestion to help you with making these choices. But these choices are then also only related to mental health. So if you, I had an example where you also put work in here. So you're a student, I had this profile for a student, and he goes working in a bar. And you say, okay, working in a bar is not very important. You should skip that. But yeah, I still need to go to Albert Heijn, right? I need to pay my bills. So it is very important for finances. But for mental health, it might be better to skip this work day. Yeah, so that's also something you always have to consider. And one of the things here, what we use is we're using the large language model as a classifier. So these labels here are generated by ChatGPT. So here I just asked ChatGPT, please classify the following events based on its most significant impact. So choose unclear, overstimulation, understimulation, neutral, or calming. And provide only this word. And this word is then linked to a color in the Google Calendar. So it's really straightforward to make sure that you have you can classify the event based on the information that's provided. So that's really nice, also a way of using large language models, not only to convert JSONs to HTML, providing reports, but also for classification. Another application for large language models. And you can use this idea for many other examples as well. So if you have reporting, you need to know if this is a financial document, is this a legal document, is this an email, is this a PDF reporting. Those type of classifications you can do also with large language models. So to come back to one of my first slides, yes, we use ChatGPT like for many applications. So we're chatting away. Companies are using it to provide you with holiday information, but you still have to really chat with the application. But in my view, in a couple of years, maybe, I don't know, 80–90% of the use of large language models will be hidden directly from the user, and you have a regular interface, which can be voice, which can be keyboard, which can be anything, but you don't have to really chat with your application anymore. And you have all the data sources from online, from your own data sources, databases, PDFs, emails, whatever, and you can really use these large language models for these type of things. And one example, which is already also quite known, is, for instance, a Microsoft Copilot integrated in Office. So you're typing, you're making your document, and you're already getting suggestions on what you could do, what you could add, and so on. So you really don't have to chat with Gemini or with ChatGPT to get your nice report. And also, and of course, GitHub Copilot Also, similar way, you're typing your code and it gives suggestions while you type. You can also chat with it, so you can open in Visual Studio Code, for instance, the chat function, you can chat with it, but in general speaking, you're just doing your work and you're getting suggestions as you go. Yeah, so for me, that's the future of a large language. That's not the future, it's already happening out there quite a lot. And I would really suggest to have that you look into these type of technologies. So this is pretty much my talk. I did this not by myself, so I had a lot of support from a lot of people, and also people who are using now autimaatje, which are, of course, for privacy reasons, will not show here. You can contact me, of course, it's the website of autimaatje, and my contact details are also in the QR codes. If you just take your camera, then you can get my email and phone number. Yeah, so thank you.